Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're feeling okay and I hope things are going well for you. Now today I thought we'd make a lovely little tag, and I love these the seed heads from the poppies. As you know, I'm a bit of a poppy fan. But what I like here is we're going to go, this all started with the lovely sticker sentiment Raindrops. And if you look, we've got the most gorgeous, now you know I'm not very good on the camera work, but I'll try and pick up these fabulous, if you look at this one here, can you see these lovely raindrops? There's another one here, look. And these have been created with glossy accents, and then when it's dry, a little dab of white pen on top, just for that highlight. And honestly, you know I'm no good at camera work, but in the flesh they do look like the most beautiful raindrops. And I just love the colours of this. When I was demonstrating at the Fairy Festival, sometimes, and I know we say happy accidents, but they really do happen, I added an extra colour. I've been demonstrating with Sahara and Truffle. I just had to remind myself. And I introduced dark denim and it took on a whole new look. There's no green at all, but we've created one. And sometimes it's lovely just to blend your inks and see what happens. So I just enjoyed it so much, and so I just wanted to share it with you. So I hope you don't mind. And it all starts off with, this is one of the smaller tags. So these are watercolour tags available from Lavinia, and this is one of the smaller ones. And I know it sounds silly, but it always surprises me how much you can get on a small tag. So this is it when it starts, look. And I know you're going to ask me, I can hear you shouting, what does small actually mean? Well, it's 5.5 inches that way and, 2.5 that way. Oh, put a mark on there, but don't worry, we'll ink over it. Must mean I've got a grubby ruler. Shh, don't tell anyone. So, I'm going to pop this over here, and we're going to start, as always, with our stamping. And I'm thinking this, I often get asked, you know, Jo, what do you do with all your tags? Well, they can go in a journal. You could pop this on a card blank I would actually add just a little bit more colour or even some stencil work behind and put it on a card blank. Or even just, you know, as it is, if this was my card blank here, stick it on and put a beautiful large sentiment here. You know, there are so many things you can do. You can make a folding card and put 2 or 3 back to back, a tag book. You can score across here at the 2 top points, use 2, glue them together like that, and make yourself an opening card, and it will actually stand up, portrait or landscape. And I find these fit in an envelope perfectly, especially if I've got a spare DL envelope. So, as I say, lots of things you can do with tags, plus use it as a tag and pop it on a gift. Now, I'm going to start with my stamping, and this is the Poppy Dwellings, and I'm going to use the taller one first. Permanent ink, it's the Versafine Clair, the Pinecone. And we'll just ink it up. So I hope you're doing well. Tuesday, so we're nearly at that Wednesday, that midweek stage. We've nearly made it to the middle of the week. And I'm just going to stamp this slightly off centre. You know, I'm a bit funny about, if it's in the centre, it's got to be dead centre. So I tend to go just slightly off. And I'm just going to give that a wipe, damp cloth, and then my inky binky. So I can take that off. And then I'm going to use the smaller from the Poppy Dwellings. And I'm just going to angle it slightly. So remember, these, you can angle them just to make it look a little bit more natural. So again, ink that up, same colour. And I'm just going to put this there at that side. Again, just let that ink soak in. It's watercolour card. Again, clean and back on the acetate. And then we've got Poppy Lodges. So I'm going to angle this one the other way. Just let me check. Yes, that's the right way. I have to think about that. Oh, that could have been interesting, couldn't it? How often do you do that? So we'll just wipe that up with Mr. Inky Binky. I clean my blocks as well, look. Must have known. So this one we're going to put a little bit lower. give that a wipe and pop that back. And then I'm going to come in with the field grass just to give a bit more interest down here. So for this, I'm going to come in with two colours. First, Sand Dune, or Sandra Dune as she's now known. And we'll just stamp a few of this, just first, second generation, so it looks like we've got some of that grass in the distance. And then quick wipe of the stamp and back in with the Pinecone, the darker colour, to just bring this to the foreground. And look, when we do that, and I don't want to overcook this, just one more up the middle. Oh, actually, little second generation there. And you know what, I've just put the lids on the wrong ink pads. That would have been interesting, wouldn't it? So whoever spotted that and shouted out, thank you very much. Right, give that a clean. Pop that over there. And if I just show you, look, can you see how now we've got that little bit more interest and the darker colour really comes to the front? So you don't, just by altering your colour using the same stamp. Now, I want to stamp in a lovely sentiment, and I've gone for, this is called Forbidden Secrets, and I love the font on this. It's got the arrow on the back, look, and no, it's not a mushroom. So many people ask me, is this a mushroom? Obviously, my arrows look like mushrooms. But I just want a bit more interest, and this is lovely. It's just the right size. Back with our sand dune. Now, if you're not sure how your colours are, stamp it on your copy paper first, but I know first generation is what I need. So I'm actually going to stamp the first one in the middle. I want to go diagonally across the page. But for me, I find it easier stamp in the middle first. And then if I go above that, and again, I've got my arrow, so I know it won't be upside down. And then if I just go below that, for me, I find that works better rather than if I stamp at the top, I'm not sure where I'm going. So a little tip there, for me, the middle always works better. So we'll give that a blot. Remember, slow drying ink, get into the habit of a nice blot. And now the fun, let's start adding that colour. So we'll get the three colours out. So we've got the Sahara, the Truffle, and the dark Denim. And I've got my three brushes, so I'll start with the Sahara. And what I'm going to do is just introduce a moon mask. So I'll turn it round. I'm going for the larger one just for some nice impacts. And then I'm just going to come straight in and over the top of the whole design with the Sahara. Now, if you heard a noise then, Eric sat at my feet and he's just shuffled himself into position, so he's tired. We've just come back from a nice walk, so if you hear any snoring or groaning, it is not me, it is Eric. So in next with the Truffle, and we're just going to add this over here, look, and then a little bit round here. And we'll take the moon mask away, turn it round, and so I can decide exactly where I want the colours. So I'm thinking let's add some brown in this corner. And what I might do actually is add some brown up here. Just over there. Now, this is the game changer for me. I mean, I was happy with that as a vintage tag, but when I added the dark denim, again, I'm just going to turn it round into this corner. I just felt that blend was beautiful. So we'll add a little bit at the top as well. And over here, now I know we left this area white, but I just want to add some of that dark denim. Just looks like that lovely moody sky. And then you can I just want to add a little bit more. And then some dark denim. And as I say, just build it up. And I know I'm going over the moon, but I just wanted the moon in the background and these lovely colours. Right, really happy with this. I just want to make this corner a little bit darker, just so it balances well. Not too much, but just in that corner. And again, I'm building it up, look. Right, now for me, that balances really well. So pop the lids on. Now, normally I would spritz this and do a mop up, but I know I'm conscious of time. I know you may have to go somewhere or be busy, so we'll mop it up for today. But obviously that would be lovely in your journal, on a tag. Make a spare tag. Now, what I'm going to do next is just add some water droplets so that they can be drying while I'm adding my colour. And I'm going to put these, so we're just faux bleaching with our fan brush, and I'm directing where I want it. But also I want to do this now just to show you that if you wanted at this stage, if you didn't want to add any colour, you could leave I think you could leave the tag like this and leave these without being coloured in. But we're going to add some colour, and I'm just going to come in with my lovely pens. And I'll tell you the colour. So I've got the blender pen. I think that's 999, isn't it? Yes, the blender. And then I've got number 50, which is the yellow. Number 67, mustard. Number 70, which is orange. And I'm just taking all the lids off just because that's how I do it. 60, which is brown, and 35, deep blue. And I'm just going to start and add a little bit of colour. So I'm just with the yellow. We'll have some yellow around the window and just at the top here. If I feel I've got any water splats where I'm colouring, I can always just dry those off. Look, I think there might be one here. And I'm just going to put this here so I don't lean on there. Now, I like to do the dark colour next, so I know there's going to be shade under here. And I just want to check that you can see what I'm doing. And then this side will be darker, won't it, because the moon's there. So we can put some dark all the way. And with these having a brush nib, look, it's so lovely, even just to colour the stems. This one will have dark under here, and then all this side will be in shadow. So again, down this side. And this here, we can just at the base, look, and follow those lines. And again, down the stem. So you need a steady hand. There we go. And just under here, look, just to emphasise that shadow. So next I'll come in with my mid-brown, look. Oh, actually, I'm going to add, because I hold them in my hand, look, it's easy if I just change my mind. I'm just going to go for some highlight, some orange, before I add that mid-brown, just to bring in those orangey tones. And then I can come in with this lovely mid-brown colour. And again, I'm just playing, just blending these colours. Now to blend those together beautifully, just get my blender pen. And it just gets rid of any, as you saw, we've got a few harsh lines there, and the blender pen just comes in and blends them seamlessly. So there, that orange needs blending into that brown. So you see there. Now what I do want to do is just bring in a little bit of the yellow just on these stems where I love that, almost the yellow in the orange in the colours. I mean, as I say, I'm not a colourist, so, but I just love this way of just choose a couple of colours. And I've brought in this, and the reason I've got this dark blue is just for these little bits round here. And I just thought it brings in the dark blue in the corners. But I'm being mindful because I don't want it to run into if it was wet. And you sort of have to hold your breath when you're colouring something like that, don't you? But as I say, with the fine point on these lovely pens, it's just more difficult when you think somebody might be watching you. But maybe you're not. But then if you're listening to me, right, there we go. Happy with that. And I just love, right, so I'm going to put the lids on my pens. And for those of you that ask, what I need to do, blend a pen. I've got a little bit of brown on it, so I'm just going to clean it. And there we go, it's gone back clean. So my blender pen is the only one that I know which the lid is. The others, I put lids on, the ones I think that they go on. Right, so that's lids on there. Kitchen roll just to dry this now. Now you can use your heat tool. I'm just going to use my kitchen roll. And there we go. Look at that. I just think the colours and the effect. And this would be a great card, male, female. And I just think those colours for me, so moody. Sticker stencil. And I couldn't resist. Where is it? Thank you. Whoever shouted, there it is, Raindrops. And no, we're not having any singing for any songs that might have raindrops in. On my scissors. I normally put it down here. Well, actually, this one I'm going to put up there, just to be different. And then some highlights. So I'm just going to add a couple of little. And again, this will show up better when it's completely dry. Just adding some to just give you an idea. And also remember, I've got this lovely Zig Mangaka opaque pen, which is lovely because it shows up really white. And what you can do is actually some of the faux bleaching look, if you come in, especially on the darker ones, and highlight them. So I'm just going to add a couple more highlights. And then I'm hoping you can see, if you look here, how lovely and white they are. Now, I've got some of our lovely craft yarns, and a little tip, if you struggle putting them through, this is just a piece of elastic, and the only reason I keep it is because, right, let me think, I want to pull them this way. So if I just pop my elastic like that, look, so I've got a really big, I can then bend my craft yarn, pop it in the elastic, pull the elastic through, and it brings the craft yarn through. So then I just look for my 3, pop those through. There's a little blue one there there we go. That one needs tightening, and there we go. So I just keep that on my craft table, and it just, for me, a little bit quicker. The last little thing is our beautiful Glossy Accents. And all I would do, I was always check it on your mat first that it's working, which it is. Remember to wipe that up though. And then I'm just going to put it and just touch the card over, especially where I've put some of those lovely white highlights. And again, if you start further away and then bring it towards you, just you've less chance of putting your hand in it then. And this takes overnight to dry, so just put it somewhere safe. Oh, actually, I said that, and then I wanted to add one up there. Little one there. Right, stop, walk away from the Glossy Accents, missus. and I'll just show you how they look. So when they're wet, it's a little bit cloudy. Really, I think that helps me because I can see where it is. Quite domed look. If you did get a little air bubble, I just have a little hat pin and just give it a little dab and the bubble will go. But when it dries, so your glossy accents will then look like this, and they'll be hard to the touch. And then I just put a little dab of that lovely Zig white pen, and that gave me my lovely raindrops. So there we have our 2 tags, and I hope you like that. I hope you have a go. So remember that colour combination, Sahara, Truffle and dark denim. It's quite dark for me, that, isn't it? Mean and moody. Oh, maybe Carl's in trouble. Maybe that's how I'm feeling, mean and moody. So you take care of yourselves, please. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all your lovely comments and all your support and friendship on here. So I hope you enjoy your next few days. Love and hugs from me, and sleep well. Bye for now.